G-Roll Electronic Productions, baby.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm JJ, the psychotherapist. Thank you for joining me. Before we get started, check out our Patreon where I got tons of exclusive content. The link is in the description. We're starting to grow over there. 2022, we want to grow even more and have a community of like-minded individuals where we can discuss even more topics where we won't get censored from YouTube and stuff like that. Plenty of exclusive content, so check that stuff out over there on Patreon. Also, we sell t-shirts. All the t-shirts we make in-house, small family business. We have plenty of Let's Go Brandon t-shirts and I Will Not Comply t-shirts and Demarc Republic's t-shirts, all types of stuff. And check out demarcrepublics.com where I do the latest in news. I do my own write articles and stuff like that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. This really disheartening. Me being a therapist, I work with a lot of children that's been trafficked. Try to help them get through that, and me seeing stuff like this, it just enrages me. That's why I go over it so much. My old YouTube page that got deleted, I went over a bunch of Epstein stuff, a bunch of child trafficking stuff. We're still up over at Odyssey, so if you check out the Odyssey. Demarc Republics on Odyssey, you can check out stuff that that YouTube deleted over there. All right, but yeah, that's why I go over so much of this child trafficking stuff, and I was into the Epstein stuff. I did dig deep into that years ago before mainstream media was even talking about it. We were talking about it over here, but that's the reason why I really get into this stuff, because a lot of the clients, a lot of the people that I see for therapy having to deal with a sexual abuse and trafficking and stuff like that. I mean, an overwhelming majority of the people I see for therapy have some type of sexual abuse. So that's why I really get into stuff like this and try to expose the stuff like this and the cover-ups and stuff that's going on in the government. A lot of people might not know our government is corrupt and is protecting these people that are trafficking children. It's terrible. But let's go into this despicable FBI. I can't stand the FBI. FBI whistleblower blasts delay before longtime CNN producer John Griffin's child trafficking arrest. So Jane Turner spent 25 years as one of the FBI's leading investigators into child sex crimes, and it's despicable because they cover up for these people. If you have a D next to your name, you work for mainstream media, you're a politician with a D next to your name, these people are protected. And that's how this despicable, sick guy got away with this for so long. Let's check out this article. The 17-month delay between a search warrant that secured longtime CNN producer John Griffin's device in Vermont and an arrest on child trafficking charges shows that the feds don't give a D about these kind of cases, according to a former FBI agent turned whistleblower who has taken the bureau to task for years. And so this individual was in the FBI and saying that they really don't. I mean, because think about it. Look what happened to the Wiener laptop case. The laptop disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to the laptop. They said people in the NYPD was looking at his laptop and was throwing up and was repulsed by the stuff they seen on Wiener's laptop. Wiener got a year in jail or something like that, and that's it. A year and a half or something, I can't remember. It was a short amount of time, and in jail for this crap, and no one knows what's on his laptop. Laptop disappeared, and that's all he got. These people are sick, and the FBI are protecting these people. We need to get rid of the FBI. But let's go on to the article. Article says he's obviously is a sexual predator and has gone from grooming children into actually capturing them, said Jane Turner, a former FBI special agent who blew the whistle on the FBI mishandling of child sex crime cases in North Dakota, Native American reservations. Very, very dangerous offender. And they say mishandle. I say they did it on purpose. The evidence against Griffin alleged includes drone video he took showing a completely naked 9-year-old girl standing next to him in his underwear, according to court filings. I mean, 666. And they let this guy continue to do this for 17 months. Quote, when confronted with this video during an interview by FBI agents, Griffin's first response was looking at the naked girl, despite that she was standing so close to him to be touching. The prosecutor's pretrial detention memo reads, Turner has long been critical of the FBI's handling of child trafficking cases. In one incident that came up in her whistleblowing case, she forced investigators to reopen the case against a suspect child, I'm not going to say the R word, a child abuser, after two-year-old victims' injuries sustained in sexual assault were mislabeled and stemming from a motor vehicle accident, according to attorneys. The suspect went on to plead guilty. See how the kid had injuries, sexual assault injuries, and they protected this individual by saying, "Oh, it was a motor vehicle accident." These people are sick. I mean, this is the FBI. You know they know the difference between a motor vehicle accident and sexual abuse. I mean, the FBI needs to be disbanded. These people are protecting the scum of the scum. I mean, look how long Epstein got away with this. You can't tell me the FBI didn't know what was going on with him. And again, look at what happened to Weiner. Weiner is out walking the street, and the NYPD said they were literally repulsed by looking at what was on this guy's laptop, and he's walking the street. The allegations against Griffin were serious enough, in her view, that they have immediately been investigated by a crack team of agents. Quote, he has a horrific hatred of women, Turner told Fox News Digital. I would like to know his background. He is an incredibly dangerous offender. Griffin, a high-profile and longtime producer at CNN, exhibits some telltale signs found in child sex predators, according to John Kelly, a veteran criminal profiler and psychoanalyst. Quote, these are allegations, he told Fox News Digital Monday, but he looks like he's got this, he got his head in the noose. Hold on, I'm gonna get back to this article in a minute. I got a message from S3 Knox 656. Said, hello, hey, how's it going? Just trying to expose the corrupt FBI for their practices in child abuse. I think the FBI is one of the main people that's trafficking these children. I don't have any proof of that yet, but I'm diving deep into this stuff. Again, sign up for the Patreon. I'm gonna be putting some more exclusive stuff about this in there on Patreon later on this week. Link in the description. But the article goes on to say that the suspect child abuser, through the nature of his job as a TV producer, is used to being in control, Kelly said, and he has an eye for imagery. The forbidden can be so tempting for the man who has everything, he said. Griffin also has a lot of money. At 44 years old, Kelly said his sexual fetishes likely formed years ago and may be an addiction. Quote, they don't get started at that age. They get started much, much younger, he said, adding that he wouldn't be surprised if additional victims were to come forward with stories predating the Vermont horror. All the more reason to dig into the investigation earlier, Turner said, as Roy Hazelwood taught profilers at Quantico, where you find one, there are more. Kick open the door, he said, referring to the late FBI profiler who also served as a consultant for Silence of the Lambs. Quote, they should have kicked this up to the A-team, put a lot of time and resources on it, but as we all know, anything to do with sex and kids holds a yuck factor for a lot of ages and their supervisors, Turner added. That is no excuse. The yuck factor, I mean, what about the kids that's going through this stuff? You know, who cares about the yuck factor? You are an adult. You should go in and help these children. The FBI, that is your job. That is your job to go in and help these children. So yuck factor or not, that should be more of the reason for you to help these children. The yuck factor is evident in the graphic federal criminal complaint against Griffin, who the FBI arrested last month. That's roughly a year and a half after court records show investigators seized a number of devices and drives in connection with the Nevada case against the child victim's adopted mother. I mean, they just allowed this guy to walk the street for 17 months, knowing the stuff that he was doing to these children. The FBI is just as sick as he is. Um, he allegedly paid the woman more than $3,000 to fly to his multi-million-dollar Vermont vacation home for a week of sex crimes that involved a 9-year-old adopted daughter. Her 9-year-old adopted daughter. This is sick. Quote, I can't think of any legitimate reason for the delay in arresting Griffin. Exactly. Especially when the adopted mother was arrested in August 2020. She, Nimi Ramini, a former federal prosecutor who has been monitored in the case. Even if he were cooperating, it would usually be post-arrest and indictment. Fox News is not using the woman's name to avoid exposing the child victim identity. Quote, the bottom line is the FBI really don't give a D about these kind of cases, Turner said, along with sharing a laundry list of possible excuses for the delay that included building up the case against possible other suspects, uncooperative witnesses, and crime lab backlogs. The FBI didn't make excuses at all and instead cited the Justice Department policy regarding commenting on ongoing investigations. A spokesperson for the Vermont U.S. Attorney's Office also declined comment. I mean, but when you think it comes to children, someone would speak up and say something, right? The Nevada case blew open when the victim's biological mother uncovered disturbing conversations on her daughter's cell phone. Learning that the adoptive mom had gone out to Vermont to visit a man named John Griffin, who she met on an online sex page. The adoptive mother also wound up hospitalized during the visit, leaving the little girl alone and unsupervised with Griffin during the time. Jesus. The 9-year-old later told a social worker that on separate occasions she had been forced to watch her adoptive mother engage in sexual acts with Griffin as well as other men on separate occasions. I mean, these people are sick. The criminal complaint filed against the Nevada woman on August 25th, 2020 in Henderson Justice Court details the allegations. I'm not really going to get into it. Let's see this part. CNN fired the former Chris Cuomo producer after his arrest. Yeah, and we went into this. We talked about how it seems like CNN is like it's like a hub for these predators. There is a hub for these predators, and it's a meme that went around that was pretty funny that showed Maxwell, showed Ghislaine Maxwell, and it said CNN had hired her. Pretty funny. And you notice that CNN never talks about cases like this. I'm gonna have to go back and verify, but I don't remember CNN ever talking about cases like this. So who are they protecting? And you got the FBI protecting, you got CNN protecting. I mean, this is disgusting. And it seems like it's the people with the D's next to their name. If you got a D next to your name, if you're a Democrat, and you're a sex predator, you are protected. I mean, everyone knows what happened with the whole Pizzagate fiasco. A lot of stuff was put out was disinformation on purpose because they didn't want the real information to get out, so they put out a bunch of disinformation. But some of this stuff pertaining to that was actually true. It's great videos on BitChute. I suggest you to look into. There's a lot of great investigations that was done into that, and you can check those out on BitChute. The article goes on to say that prior to his arrest and indictment, we had no knowledge about the case, a CNN spokesman told Fox News Digital. So you just happen to have two pedos working for you. The media outlet also said no CNN-owned devices issued to Griffin went missing or were reported lost in September 2020 when investigations said they seized some of his electronics. I don't believe that's true, because if the FBI is going to come in and seize your electronics, they're going to take your work electronics also. That is not because you could be using that. So why wouldn't they? And if the FBI took your work electronics, you would think they would have to. The CNN would know. So I believe they're lying. I believe this is all a lie. They know what was going on. Between April and July 2020, Griffin alleged invited 3 women and their underage daughters over for the purpose of sexual training. According to a federal indictment, only the Nevada woman took him up on his offer, according to prosecutors. But my question is, how come the other women that he propositioned didn't come out and call the police when this happened? Maybe they did. Maybe they did call the police, and the FBI helped cover this up also. Griffin faces a count of child sex trafficking and 2 counts of attempted child sex trafficking. If convicted, he will face up to lifetime in prison. Good. And is being held without bond in Vermont. He has pleaded not guilty. Griffin attorney David Kirby declined to comment. Of course he declined to comment because they caught him. They got him red-handed. They got the evidence. And the FBI held on to the evidence for 17 months. Why? We don't know. I mean, I believe, again, that the FBI is be covering a lot of this stuff up. I believe the FBI is one of the main traffickers. That's what I believe. And a little bit in pertaining to this is not really the FBI, but pertaining to protecting people with the D. More news came out today about. Let me see if I can get it over here. About Cuomo killing of people in old folks' home. He's not being charged. So, and again, New York is the same state that's prosecuting Trump on fake charges, and we got Cuomo red-handed. We know that this guy literally killed a bunch of people in a bunch of old folks in homes, and he got away with it. And this is from Just the News. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo started 2022 much like he ended 2021 with an apparent legal victory. A lawyer for the disgraced ex-leader of the state said Monday that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office ended its investigation into Cuomo administration's nursing home policies during the early stages of Stupid 19 crisis without pressing any charges. Quote, I was told that after a thorough investigation, thorough investigation, as we have said all along, there was no evidence to suggest any laws were broken. The news from Manhattan comes after prosecutors in Nassau and Westchester counties said in late December they would not seek charges against the former governor related to sexual harassment allegations. I mean, this is again to show that if you're in politics and you're high up there and you got a D next to your name, you can literally commit crimes. You can have sexual harassment. You can kill old people and traffic children and get away with it if you have a D next to your name. The Democrats are some of the evilest, sickest people. They talk about Republicans, but look at all this stuff that's going on with the children. Look at how they try to push their sex onto children. Look at how they traffic these children. The Democrat Party is evil. These people are evil. In late March 2020, as Stupid 19 cases were increasing in New York, state officials initiated a new policy requiring nursing homes to accept patients who have tested positive into their facilities. The rationale was to free up beds at hospitals suddenly taxed by an influx of patients needing treatment. Shortly after the policy started, though, caseloads and deaths at the long-term care facility skyrocketed. And on my old channel, I talked about this when he first did it. I said, why would you put sick people with your most vulnerable population? I said people are going to die. This is common sense. But they did it anyway. The administration eventually issued a report that said that the policy was not responsible for increased deaths at the facility. So then this is the kicker. Instead, the administration said community spread brought it in as workers and visitors introduced the virus to nursing homes before additional steps could be taken to control it. So not that you put the sick patients in the facility with old people. That's not what caused it. It's the workers that came in brought it in, not the sick patients that you brought in. These people are horrible, and they literally got away with murder. But I'm going to have to stop right here because I'm starting to get heated. But I can't stand corruption, and I especially can't stand it when they get away with corruption. This is horrible. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out DeMarcoPublics.com for the latest in news. Also, sign up for our Patreon. Links for all that is in the description. Links for the t-shirts is in the description. Until next time, peace.